everyone, and welcome to this episode of Sidestagewithsoph, the show that takes you behind the safety curtain, behind the scenes, showing you what it really takes to get a show up on its feet. From cuts to costume fittings, sits probe to star ratings, and tech to fine-tuning, we will discuss it all here with your host, Soph. I would like to welcome you back to another Fringe Friday series, which is the show that introduces you to some of the great shows we have at this year's Edinburgh Fringe. And today I'm joined by Liz Coyne, who is bringing her show Lizzy Sunshine to the Fringe this year. Liz, how are we?
Yes, hi. We're doing very well. We're so excited to talk about Lizzy Sunshine, and I'm tuning in here from London, actually. I just did the show here, so I'm in a closer time zone to you than I normally would be.
Yes, all my other Fringe guests, I'm ringing them like properly in the morning.
Yeah, a lot of US people.
Yeah. So every Side Stage with Soph episode, I start by asking my guest the same question. So
Okay.
Fringe Fridays is no different, just Edinburgh Fringe themed.
Yeah.
So with that, I ask, what is your favourite thing about the Edinburgh Fringe?
Ooh, okay. The Tesco meal deals. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, but I do love those. My favorite thing about the Edinburgh Fringe, probably the people that you meet.
Mm.
Like I just mentioned, I'm in London. I just did my show here for 5 days, and the only reason I was able to was because a theater booker in London saw my show at Fringe and invited me to do it at
Hmm.
her theater. And I've made friends in the UK through doing Fringe, whose houses and couches I've slept on.
Yes.
So I think it's the people that I've met and then going to out and parties and whatever around London. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know you. And it's because I met you in Scotland. So I think it's just so cool to meet artists, like-minded people from around the world.
Cute.
Yeah.
So today we are talking about Lizzy Sunshine. I mean, I've done my research, but would you like to give a little summary to those watching or listening of what it's about?
Sure. Yeah. If you're listening, Lizzy Sunshine is all about a girl named Lizzy who is here to do her two-person show with her big brother. They put on this kind of hokey motivational show about the power of positivity. But at this particular show, Jamie is running a little bit late. There was a bit of a commotion and an incident, so Lizzy has to start the show without him. And as the show continues, Jamie is continuing to run late, and in the end, he does not come, and she is stuck doing the show by herself and using the audience as kind of her makeshift scene partner.
Cute. Where did the idea for this show first come about?
Yeah, well, it is true of my life that the kind of metaphor of this show is that when you love someone with addiction, it's like a show that goes on and on and on, and you're always kind of waiting for it to change or the shoe
Hmm.
to drop. So it's a little bit of a deeper meaning.
Yeah.
And I it was inspired by my real life. My brother has suffered from addiction. He's doing better now, which is very cool
Good.
and exciting
Good.
and
Yes.
happy. Yeah, but the original idea of the show came from if I was going to do a show by myself, I'm not like super well versed in the world of one woman shows. I only went to
Hmm.
Fringe for the first time last year, and the only solo show I had ever seen was Fleabag. But I just kind of got a head full of steam that I wanted to do this because I do a lot of solo characters in shows. And so as I got to writing, it just kind of emerged this
Hmm.
idea of doing this kind of fun, high energy, hokey thing. I love audience participation. I love clown. And the storyline over time emerged.
Cute. I love that. You mentioned about audience participation being part of it, and it's very clearly advertised on the like announcement, and so they should expect it. But do you have any tricks, like if a crowd or audience like aren't as interactive as they possibly could be?
100%. This is a pro tip. I've been doing improv for so long, and the audience is the missing piece of any puzzle, improv,
Hmm.
comedy, or theatrical. And the biggest rule is they are the star. They
Hmm.
are right. The customer is always right. You are never meant to make them uncomfortable, and the joke is never at their expense. And so in my show, you are never made to do, you literally could sit there and do absolutely nothing the entire show and still watch the entire show. It is not forced. No one is made to do anything. But my trick is to create an environment where people feel kind of safe and comfortable to join in and sing along and be part of it. It's not like
Yeah.
I'm never picking on you. I'm never making fun. And the people who do participate and like come up on stage, you're celebrated. The audience is like so hype you're there. You get a lollipop for coming on stage. You look good. If anyone doesn't look good, it's me. So I think that is how I kind of beat people who hate audience participation. I not beat, I win. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I've had so many people in reviews or talk to me say like, typically I hate audience participation. I really don't want to get pulled up, but
Yeah.
like you made me forget that I hated it or like it didn't feel like it usually does. So I think the secret sauce is like really caring for the audience and
Mhm.
their feelings throughout.
Yeah, that's exactly why I ask. So sometimes I won't be the biggest fan of, say, audience participation and stuff. But yeah, no, that sounds really cool. Um, I mean, you said you've been doing improv for years, but like, how do you not panic at the thought of having a show, like to do a show with no idea of where it's going to go, or like somewhat of no idea? Like, how can you just build yourself up to be able to improv, like through the years and stuff?
Yeah, I think it's repetitive exposure,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, there's a really cool article I can send you, but they've tested improvisers' brains and kind of like what's going on in that moment when most human brains are conditioned to panic, fight or flight, run. Like, what do you mean I don't
Mm-hmm.
have a script and I have to do this in front of people? Improvisers kind of have this cool overdrive hack where we've tricked our bodies and our brains to be comfortable during that and to turn on the kind of creative lower part of our brain that does associations. And it's really just exposure. Like I said, I've been doing it for years, and you just kind of trick yourself into doing it. And then for me, enjoying it. And in fact, I get less stressed as the performer doing the improvised chunks of the show than I do for the memorized chunks or the parts where I have to sing. I get way more nervous about that and what I've written because I have such a trust in the audience that I know the audience part is going to be whatever it is. And like you can't, it's almost like a mindfulness thing. Like you can't fret about it because it's going to have to be exactly what it is. And if you trust yourself and your own gut, which I do, and you trust the audience, like you're going to be okay. And just repeated exposure. You know what I mean? If it was my
Yeah.
very first time ever doing improv and it was this high level of improv, I'd poop my pants, right? Like it is not for the faint of heart. But if you've been doing improv for a long time and it's your favorite thing in the world, which it is for me, improv's my favorite, then it's like it's more of a fun challenge than a scary thing.
Yeah. You've sold out multiple times in multiple cities. How does it feel to have such a positive show be so well received? And like, kind of on the back of that, a lot of your marketing is very yellow and very bright. Where does this positivity come from?
Yeah, man, I have never worn so much yellow in my life. I will say that is true. It's to answer your first question, it feels incredible to have shows sell out and have so many people be excited about this. The coolest feeling is when people come back and they've seen
Mm,
it before and then they come and see it again. That is so special. And even more special is like the husband or the boyfriend who got dragged to seeing the show, who didn't know what it was going to be about. And then they come up after me and they're like, I didn't know what this was going to be. And I was so moved by it because it
mm,
has such a twist. Um, it's super, super special. And I do think the name is catchy and the marketing. I didn't mean for it to become such a brand, but I'm very lucky that it is. I've always been a really kind of colorful, bright, positive, out there person. I mean, this show is autobiographical. The character Lizzy Sunshine is basically an exaggerated version of a part of myself. We all
hmm.
have kind of protective parts of ourselves, right, that we
Yeah.
bring on to get through situations and parts of our lives. And this part for me kind of was established around age like 13. And she's like hyper positive, can do anything, will be in every single extracurricular club in school, can make best
Hmm.
friends with anybody. Like she's kind of this she's Lizzy Sunshine. I don't know how
Yeah.
else to describe her. She's fearless. And it's not necessarily me, Liz, who has a sore throat and is exhausted and just had to do a million emails. Like when you slip into Lizzy Sunshine, you really are putting on rose-colored glasses where it doesn't matter if your throat hurts anymore. Now you're doing the thing you love to do the most.
Hmm.
Um, and then to answer your question about the branding, you were asking like why is it yellow or how did it come to be?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's funny. It actually didn't start yellow at all. So the very first time I ever did this show, I only had 20 minutes was what the theater gave me. It was like a 20-minute slot in an hour-long show where they were letting multiple people perform their clips of their
Yeah.
show. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give it my all. So I did 20 minutes of Lizzy Sunshine, which if you see the show, it's freaking crazy to try to boil that show down to 20 minutes, but we did it. And the only thing I wore was black yoga pants. And I think I might have worn yellow Converse, so that's yellow. But
Okay.
then I wear this tank top. It's packed away right now, but it says Lizzy on it. And it's a tank top that I made when I was 11 years old. I made it so that I could wear it to go audition for Annie so they would remember my name.
Oh.
And I've had it since I was 11, so it's kind of falling apart a little bit. But that is the costume. It's always like, Lizzie's here and she's putting on her shirt. So it wasn't actually until recently that the costume was more yellow. It was
Mhm.
right before I was flying to Scotland last summer. I was on a walk and I walked by this little clothing shop that was actually a weed dispensary in the back. It's legal in New York. It was like a
Okay.
weed shop, but in the front there's like candles and clothes. And I saw this yellow jumpsuit in the window and I was like, "Oh, what is that?" And I went and I tried it on and it was more money than I would normally ever spend on clothes because I'm super
Mhm.
cheap when it comes to clothes. And I saw it and it was like $200. And I was like, I'm gonna get it. And now I wear it every single show. So it was worth $200.
Exactly.
Um, but yeah, so that's kind of where the yellow outfit came. And then it's so memorable. And like being at Fringe last summer was my first time going there. You
Mhm.
have to do something to stand out because
Yes.
everyone's standing and holding flyers. So like I've noticed having a big, bright color or like a dress or something that takes up a lot of visual space, like
Mhm.
people notice it and they remember. And when you say something crazy like, I'm Lizzy Sunshine, people immediately are kind of like, what's this girl's
Yeah.
deal? But
Yeah.
they'll come see it. So that's where the yellow originated. And then I've really just like gone with it. I can't tell you how many posts I've made to the song Walking on Sunshine. Because you just do,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, so we actually kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but something that struck me while researching was seeing that on the Lizzy Sunshine site, it mentions that a portion of your sales goes to Naranon and funding free improv classes. If you're okay to say, how did you come to this?
Yeah, so actually, interestingly enough, I believe that everybody's path is kind of carved for them and they go about it in different ways. And when it was COVID era, I got this big head full up of steam that I wanted to start a company. I wasn't really performing because it was COVID. And I
Mm,
decided I was going to start a company where I taught improv in rehab centers.
mm,
And it was called Almost Funny. And I went and I did. Not very many because it was COVID, but I started
mm,
this business. And then once performance opportunities came back up, I started doing that again. But the improv workshops and me teaching workshops has been a stable source of like extra money and income that I do in New York City.
mm-hmm.
So I teach through a school called Improvolution, and I teach at a company called iMergence. And then now, in addition, I'll go and teach workshops at there's two rehabs in New York where I've gone and taught. It's like kind of like a volunteer
Yeah.
thing. So I do sometimes do it for money, but I also do it for free. And then anytime I travel to a new city, so like when I came to London, when I went to North Carolina, I research every rehab group, every sober living community in the area, and I send them a message, email, offering the workshop for free and then offering like either free or like bulk discounted tickets to come see my show as like an outing. Um,
Mm,
and I will say I don't get as many bites on that as you would hope. I did in Scotland. People in Scotland came because they know about the Fringe, but in
yeah.
New York, people aren't as used to it. So, yeah, so that's it. I didn't teach any full workshops this past summer in Scotland, but I'm hoping to do it this time in the Fringe this summer. And then Naranon, yeah, it's a family support group actually. So
Right.
it's a support group for people who are loved ones of addicts, and it's really what changed my life. I started it in 2022. A friend of mine named Brandon encouraged me to do it, and started doing it on Zoom. And it gave me like language and information I really never knew. And I was like, I wish I knew this when I was 16. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, I'm just a personal donor of that. And like Lizzy Sunshine, the team is really, it's me, it's my director, McKenna, and then we have some, people who've come on to help with some production stuff, but like I'm really the core team. So when I say Lizzy Sunshine's donating, it's mostly I'm donating,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
I get it. Yeah. No, I love that because I feel like it's making theatre more accessible as well. I feel like there's not enough programs like that to make people get into it. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
so we have reached our Edinburgh Fringe themed this or that, kind of either
Ooh.
or.
Oh,
So you,
fun.
yeah, you can answer them as quickly or as slowly as you like. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have flyering or no flyering.
Flyering, and you should do it yourself. People who pay other people to flyer for them and they never flyer, you're missing out. I've made so many incredible connections flyering. For example, there's actually a couple who I need to reach out to who I met flyering on the street. They came to my show. They were so moved by it that they donated to my campaign, and I'm going to try and see them next week when I'm back in London after Barcelona. And like
Love
I
it.
was flyering, and an 11-year-old girl and her mom met me flyering in the balloon dress that I wear, and they came to the show and they loved it and they stayed in touch. So like flyering yourself is the
Hmm.
best way to make personal connections, even if you do lose your voice, which I always do.
Fair. Are you someone who will see one other show a day or try to cram it all in?
Cram it all in. Well, last year I was only at Fringe for a week and a half, so I saw
Right.
like minimum 3 shows a day. This summer, I think I might try to be a little gentler with myself and my own wallet, and try to see fewer. Well, I don't know. I actually can't answer that. I'll probably still end up seeing a bunch a day, but because I'm Gilded Balloon, I'll try to see a lot of Gilded shows because you get in for
Yes.
free having that badge.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Are you someone who prefers the Royal Mile or Arthur's Seat?
Okay, I'm gonna say Royal Mile because don't get mad. I didn't go to Arthur's Seat last summer.
Fair.
I was only there for like a little under 2 weeks and I
Hmm.
never got to it. But I'm so excited because I know at the end of the Fringe, everyone hikes up it at the end. So
Oh
I really
yes,
can't wait for that moment. That'll be my first time going.
cute. It is. It does look high. To be fair, I've never been up it either.
Yeah.
Do you prefer bagpipes or other street performers?
Bagpipes. My friend Brendan Lemon, who's also going to the Fringe,
I've
he's
had
a
it. I've had him on.
Oh, have you? Yeah, he's
Yeah.
a love. I love him. He's a bagpiper and I like bagpipes. Yeah, the other street performers are cool too, but the bagpipes feel very uniquely Scotland in a way that I
Yeah,
like.
I did. He said it, and I was like, "What? No."
He's cool. He's really cool.
Yeah. So our last one is: are you buying sweet or savory food at the food court stalls things?
Probably both, but I'll say I'm buying savory first, and
Yes.
I got a really good like meat pie thing when I was there. I tried haggis. I don't know if it's for
Oh
me. It
no.
was fine, but I was like, I don't, it was a little mushy for me.
Yeah.
But I liked it fine. And then sweet for sure. So yeah, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I'm probably a both girl.
I do love the you can get like chips at one of the like specific stalls and you get like chili and stuff on them. They're so
Mm,
fab. But that is actually the end of our discussion today, Liz. I'd like
okay.
to thank you for joining me. And for those who are going to go see Liz's show, she is on between the 5th and 31st of August with a few dates in between, not because the girl needs a break. And as she said, at the Gilded Balloon at the end of a Fringe. So I would like to thank you all for watching, and I will see you the next time on Side Stage with Soph. Bye!
Yay. Thank you. Bye.